And joining me right now here on the Mark Moses Show to talk a little high school football. This guy does a great job as the head football coach at Space Coast High School. He is a also gigantic Cincinnati Bengals fan, but we'll get I know his players don't care. They want to talk about themselves. They want to hear that. Coach Owens, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm good, Mark, man. Thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. Looking forward to talking some Viper football with you.
Well, it's interesting with you guys. You've already played 3 games. We're only on, September 3rd, and you guys have a bye week. So
yes.
How's the season gone so far for you guys being 3-0 so early?
We're excited. I mean, for us, we wanted to get off to a fast start, obviously, knowing that we had the early bye week. So for us, it's we don't get to play a kickoff classic like a preseason game. Our games start right away. So when everybody in the other conference is playing their preseason games, our game counts. So that's how we are 3-0 and into the season already. So for us, we want to come out, start off fast, and last year we did. We kind of had a little bit of a slow start. I mean, we won football games, but we really didn't get into a rhythm on offense, and those first couple of weeks just didn't go how we wanted it to. So that was one of the goals this year, was make sure we started off fast right out of the gate, and we've done that. I mean, we played 3 games, and we have outscored our opponents 120-10, I believe. So for us, we are excited, but at the same time, man, this is these seasons, they are marathons. They are not sprints, and we are just in the beginning of this thing. The bye week did come at a good time, man. We got some boo-boos and bruises, and it was nice to kind of rest up and get ready for our big game against Astronaut next week.
You talk about scoring over 100 points so far in your 3 games. So do you feel like you found your identity on offense then, after just what you said?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm a perfectionist. So, for me, it is, we can always be better. Our second game, we got into we were in a battle. The team we played, they had a great defensive plan going into it, and they gave us some trouble. So it was nice this past week, bouncing back from that and being able to get into a rhythm on offense. I think we finished with like 498 total yards. So for us, that's big. And also finishing drives. That was another big point of emphasis this year going into the season, was making sure that we finished drives. Last year, we struggled sometimes in the red zone, and this year we've done a good job of that. I think there's only one time that we have not scored from the red zone. So, again, scoring 120 points in 3 games, not too bad. We'll take it.
You're absolutely right. Do you like having a bye week this early in the season?
Normally I don't, Mark, to be honest with you. I've been doing this head coaching thing for a while now, a long time. And I don't think I've ever had this early of a bye week, maybe one other time that I can remember. Normally I like it right around week 7 in there. But this one, because of scheduling purposes, we were kind of and we had a team drop us. And so there's a bunch of stuff that went on. So we were kind of forced into it a little bit. However, it really came at a really good time. Like I said, we've been able to have a chance to reflect on the positives and the negatives of these first 3 games, figure out how we can get better, and at the same time, get our guys rested up a little bit, because we have another stretch of tough ones coming up here off the bye week.
You guys had a very successful 2024. We all know that. All the fans know that. You talk about taking it to the next level. What do you guys need to do? Even though you're 3-0, what do you guys need to improve on to go to that next level?
Well, I think for us, last year, again, we had some games that we let slip away, one of them being the Astronaut game last year. So for us, it's about finishing those games, and again, just trying to stay focused 1 week at a time. When you are rolling like we are right now, and You offensively, you feel like you're in a groove, and defensively, you feel like you can go out and stop anybody. When you're in that situation, you have to kind of put on the brakes a little bit, ease back, and make sure that you keep that focus on what the ultimate goal is. And the ultimate goal is not to go 3-0. The ultimate goal is to win another state championship. So that is our focus right now, is 1 week at a time. Let's just go 1-0. And then, again, we'll celebrate the win for a day, and then we move on. And that's kind of how it's been. And the players have done a really good job of buying into that philosophy and going out and executing on the field, and the next week getting ready for that next opponent. So they've done a really good job of that.
You talk about winning a state championship. Does it hit you from time to time? Like, yeah, that actually happened. Like, what happens, Coach?
It's weird. A lot of people have asked me this, and I think I was just talking to Alan about this not too long ago. But, for me, after the season, I do what I always do, and that's kind of just have an opportunity to kind of reflect on everything. And it did. It kind of hit me about 2 weeks after the season. And obviously, once we had the ring ceremony and we got those rings, it really hit you. And for me, it was emotional. Obviously for me, I've been coaching a long time, and to get my first one means a lot. But for me also, it's about the players and the coaches and the people around me. They mean the world to me, and to be able to see the look on our players' faces and our coaches' faces when they were presented with the rings in the ceremony. Man, that's really when it hit me, I think, is when I just saw that all the work that we had put in, it all came to fruition. And that was a memorable thing for me. And honestly, now, I mean, our guys, I didn't really have to say anything. Our guys, to them, it's about going and winning another one, because they know that feeling that we finished with last year. So, but it does. Every once in a while, it'll hit me. But I'm so locked in when the season's on. I'm so locked in every week that all I'm thinking about is just going 1-0 every week and getting these players in the right position to make plays and help them be as successful as they possibly can individually on the field and as a team.
Where's the ring or the championship? Do we keep it at home? What do we do, Coach? What happens?
We do. We keep it at home. It's actually right next to my Bengals AFC Championship ring from 2021. So I got the Bengals AFC Championship ring and then the Space Coast Vipers State Championship ring right next to each other. So yeah, it's right here. It's right here. It's nice and safe. I'm not one of those people. I don't go around wearing it and stuff, but every once in a while I'll take a look at it just to remember, that all the hard work and everything that we put into last season was meaningful, and we want that feeling again. So, that's the focus right now.
So you were on the 21 Bengals? You were on the team personally?
I was not, but listen, I was not, but I am a season ticket holder. So we all got, the season ticket holders all got replica AFC Championship rings. They're awesome. I mean, they're identical, but they're obviously replicas, but still very cool. Obviously, I've been a Bengals fan since '81. So, 1988 was the last time I got to celebrate that. I was like in 7th grade. So yeah, this was that one was meaningful, and I got to go to the Super Bowl in 2021 to watch that heartbreaking ending live. But it was still a cool experience.
That's so awesome, dude. That really. I want to ask this for a while. How did you get involved with the Baker Mayfield Foundation, who helped out your football team last night? How did you guys do that?
Well, I can't. All that credit goes to one of our awesome parents who she was. I'll throw her name out there. Her name is Stephanie Starkey, and she went to Oklahoma, so she's been a Baker Mayfield fan for a very long time. Kind of followed his career. and she, looked into their foundation and reached out, and we were in. It's funny, Mark, because that story. It's an incredible story. It really is. And we are so grateful to Baker and Emily Mayfield, the foundation, and everything they did for us. But it's funny because once ESPN got their hands on it, it kind of took a whole nother turn to this made for TV movie. And it really was the fact that when I took over this program, the coaches before me, they didn't buy a lot of equipment, and so there was a lot of old equipment. We were never not going to play the season, which somehow that got out, but that was never going to happen. We were going to play no matter what. But obviously, you want to have your guys reward, and you want them to be safe. And we were in need of helmets and shoulder pads, and she reached out to the foundation, and they came back and they said, yeah, you're gonna be our team that we sponsor this year. And it really is an incredible story. It doesn't have to be twisted and turned all these different ways, because their generosity and what they did for our kids in the program, and it really was a boost. And again, now we are probably the best equipped team in Central Florida, and that's a good thing. I mean, obviously safety is a big part of our game, and we feel like our kids are safe, more safely equipped than they possibly could be. So that's a good thing.
That's a really cool story, dude. I know it's like The Blind Side with Sandra Bullock, where they started saying he was homeless and he didn't.
Listen, once ESPN went, and I love ESPN obviously, but man, it took this whole nother turn, and we're all of a sudden we're reading these it ended up, I think, on ESPN, and we're like, wait a minute, no, we were not going to forfeit our season. Are you kidding me? I would never do that. And we'll play with seashells on our head before we forfeit a season. But I do want to say this is the really cool part about the whole story, Mark, is, obviously Baker during our season and during the Bucs season, we're so crazy, both of us, him and us. And there was just like, we wanted to be able to touch base. I wanted to thank him personally. And we're like, how is that possibly going to happen? Right, Mark? And we had one of the incredible writers over there for ESPN. She did an awesome job covering the story. The Pro Bowl obviously being played in Orlando, Baker was not part of that roster. But when the Eagles made the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts obviously couldn't play in the Pro Bowl. So Baker ended up taking his spot. And that was like literally 4 or 5 days before the game. Well, we had already had a group that was going to the Pro Bowl, and we find out we had already gotten tickets and stuff. We found out Baker's going to be there. So obviously we reached out to his people, and Baker was like, oh, absolutely. We've got to meet. So we got to get down on the field before the game and hang out on the field. And for me, it was awesome because Trey Hendrickson was in the Pro Bowl. So my son and I got to meet him and talk to him for a little bit and get an auto. And then obviously Baker came over and he took pictures with all of our kids, all of our coaches. And not only that, but he took the time to pull me aside, and we got to talk for about 10 minutes just about ball, man, just about his season and our season and just football. I mean, he is honestly he is what you see on TV. He's a great dude. And being a Bengal fan, I don't root for anybody else, but I will tell you, unless he's playing the Bengals, I am a huge Baker Mayfield fan because he's genuine and he's a great dude. And he was so gracious, and it was just a great experience for our kids. And it was just awesome. Again, the whole thing was just it's just an incredible story. It's awesome. It's memorable.
And look, I hope they help out more teams moving forward. around the state of
Absolutely.
Florida. I really do.
Absolutely.
Is Baker really a big guy or no? Like for football wise?
No, I'll have to go back and look at the pick. I think I might have him. I think I might have him by maybe, I don't know. I might be a little bit taller. He's definitely bigger than me. But I mean, he's just again, he's just you gotta love the way he plays the game, right? Like he plays like he's 250 pounds. Like he is a tough dude. And as a coach, you just love to see that on the field. And like I said, man, when those players, and not just professional athletes, but anyone that has that platform, when those people use that platform for a good cause, like helping out others, I mean, you have to respect that. And like I said, he will always have my respect, and I'll always be a fan unless it's Bucs Bengals in the Super Bowl.
All right. Before I let you go, I have to ask this because I ask this to every coach.
Okay.
How important is it for your players to be student athletes, go to class, graduate? How important is that for you as the coach for Space Coast?
It's huge. It's funny you say that because I was being interviewed a while back, and they obviously everybody talks about the state championship and the incredible turnaround, all the wins and all that stuff, and all that stuff is so meaningful to me. But I will always say something that's right up there at the top with doing all those things is the fact that our grade point average for our team has skyrocketed. And that to me is really what is the centralized importance of running a program like this, whether you're in college or whether you're in high school, it doesn't matter. But these young men and women, any athlete out there, high school or college, the important thing is making sure that they get a great education, that they understand what it means to be able to study. Because when they get to that next level, when they do go to college, they need to understand the importance of those grades. And, sometimes it doesn't always work out to be a professional athlete. You put in all that work and sometimes it doesn't work out, but having that to fall back on is so important. And to me, watching our kids not only succeed on the field, but in the classroom, to me, it's just as important. Like I am just as proud of watching a player score a touchdown as I am with them doing well in a class, because that's the hard thing for a lot of these athletes is being able to, some of them are just natural athletes and they're just great at sports, and maybe they might struggle in the classroom. So to see them succeed on and off the field is so important. And for me, being a student athlete, I'll always say student athlete, student first. It's huge. It's huge because it sets these kids up for life. That's our job as coaches, is to make sure these young men and women are set up for their futures, because obviously high school goes by fast, and what they do after high school is just so important that they become successful. So for me, it's huge, and we put a lot of emphasis on it.
Great answer. All right, you guys have the bye week. Then, like you said, you got Astronaut 2 Fridays from now. Before I let you go, tell us about your Bengals podcast, buddy. We got
it's kind of a crazy story. A buddy of mine who also lives in Brevard County. He is a lieutenant fighter. His name's Man Abel Hassan, and him and I have been friends for 15 years, and we're both like just obsessed with the Bengals, right? And we go to games, our families, and we watch the games together. I mean, and we've done this for, like I said, well over a decade. So it all kind of came about. I was on the flight to the Super Bowl, right? So we flew out of Orlando, and I'm on the flight to the Super Bowl. It's my wife and I, and we end up sitting in front of us. this guy turns around and says "Houday," and I'm like "Houday," and "Houday" is like the Bengals war cry, right? When you see a Bengals fan, you say "Houday," and they know, they're legit if they give you a "Houday" back. So, he says "Houday," I say "Houday" back, and him and I talk for a couple minutes, and the person sitting next to me, so my wife's by the window and I'm in the middle. Person sitting next to me is like, "Hey, do you want to switch seats so you guys can talk?" And I was like, yeah. He was like, yeah. And my wife was like, no, because it's a 6-hour flight, Mark. You know what I mean? So we haven't even taken off yet, dude. We're still on the runway. And my wife's like, you got to be kidding me, right? Well, there was a handful of Bengal fans. Everybody's going to the Super Bowl, and so him and I start talking, and he lives in Orlando, and he worked for a podcast. And him and his buddy were starting a podcast network for the Bengals. And I have a radio TV background. That's what I did before I started teaching. So I worked in TV a little bit, but I worked in radio quite a bit. I had my own show and all that stuff. So I did that before I started teaching. So I had that background. Obviously, we're about 2 hours into it, and he looks at me, he's like, I don't know if I've ever met anybody that knows this much about the Bengals. And I'm like, listen, I know somebody, right? Because my buddy Mon back here in Brevard, and he's like, listen, we're starting this thing. We're looking for a second podcast. Would you guys be willing to do a pilot? And I was like, yeah, sure. So, we talk more all the way about Bengals. We're just talking Bengals for 6 hours. We land in LA. We go to the game. We kind of meet up and hang out. There's a 1988. A lot of the players were there from the 88 team. So we went and hung out with them. We got invited to this party and stuff. So it was pretty cool. We're in like downtown LA, and I'm hanging out with David Fulcher and Ickey Woods, guys I grew up with watching. And so we're hanging out and I'm thinking, that's kind of the end of it. Well, my buddy Mon had flown out on a separate flight. So he got there with his son. And I told him about it. I was like, man, you're not going to believe what happened on this flight. And it's funny because Mon and I had talked about it for a couple of years. Like, how do we start a podcast? How would we do something like that? That'd be cool because all we do is talk about Bengals anyways. We might as well do it. And sure enough, 2 weeks after the Super Bowl, he calls me up and he's like, hey, you ready to do that pilot? And I'm like, yeah, let's go. So Mon and I do the pilot. And after we do that first pilot, they're like, hey, we're going to use this for your first show. What do you guys think? And we're like, yeah, let's roll. And, we've been doing it ever since. And now we have our buddy Eric, who is also from Brevard County, which is crazy, right? He's a big Bengals fan too, season ticket holder like me. Now he's our producer. I know. And he's our producer now. So we do this Bengals podcast and we've gotten pretty good at it. We're pretty popular but it's funny because all three of us live in Brevard County and we do this Bengal podcast. And it's something, it's something I do for fun. Obviously my focus is on my football program, but it's nice to be able to every once in a while dive back into my background of working in sports radio and stuff. So that's fun. And then I get to talk about the Bengals and people listen.
What's it called? The podcast, so we can check it out.
It's called the Bengals Pulse, like a heartbeat. So Bengals Pulse. We are on YouTube. We're on Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, all those things. And we have fun. It's literally three diehard fans talking about the Bengals, but now this has gotten big where, we've had the voice of the Bengals, Dan Horde, and we've had players on. We've had a bunch of Cincinnati media now on our show, and it's become pretty big. And Mon and I and Eric, we just sit back and we just enjoy it. We all do it for fun because it's not our job, It's awesome. It's awesome, and like I said, people listen to me talk about the Bengals, which is awesome.
I have some guys that you need to get on who love the Bengals as well. I'll hook you up. All right.
Do you really?
Yes, I do. I have multiple people. Okay.
Absolutely. And Alan, it's funny because obviously Alan Slaughterzinski, who's a good close friend of mine, and I know you guys are friends as well. You know, he likes the Ratbirds, and him and I every year we just go back and forth and back and forth. And he knows last year he got lucky. If it wasn't for a missed kick, I mean, we should have beaten both games with the worst defense in the NFL. They can't stop Burrow. They can't stop Chase. And this year we're going to sweep them. So mark that down.
Mark that down. He is the head coach at Space Coast High School. They're on a bye. Then they have astronaut. Coach, it was great talking to you. Good
Thanks
luck.
for having me.
Yeah, and I hope I can get you on again sometime. All right?
Anytime, Mark. Thank you, and go Vipers.